Yay! Okay. Video capture. Absorbs. Absorbs. You. Excellent. Leon. Right, I have uninstalled some superfluous shit. Hopefully, frame drops have gone. There we go. Oh, everything. Anyway. Right. Oh, you fuck. That's all of us in a Discord call. Can't imagine that. Hi, Alex. Rejoice, comrades. We have baseness from the southwest. Hi. Right. Let's give some people until 11, essentially, to come in. I seem to be shrouded in kind of darkness here. Uh, Emily! Rejoice, we have Emily. Big Jerry. Hello, Jerry. And a molting fact. Right. Hope everyone is doing well. Well, I know you are, Emily. I was just talking to you. Ah, itchy, 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 itchy. Ah, can get rid of you. Let me bring up my chance. You shall retreat. Quack indeed. I'd rather be a quack than a ducky. Anyone that gets that reference knows what kind of comedy I used to watch. Yes, I know I'm live. Thank you, Twitch. Captions are unenabled on your clip. Some more people come through. Okay, got it. Thank you. Yeah, catch you later. Quack, quack. Oh, for those of you who are unsubbed on the Twitch, ads, I do apologise. Okay, let's bring up my YouTube chat. Go! YouTube. I will probably get notifications when Kev and Helena go live. Oddly enough. By-election of the century. That's a bit much, really. But that is their choice to make if they want to title it that, obviously. And by the way, there's 74 fucking years left of the century. Good. But that is their choice to make if they want to title it that, obviously. Good, please. Thank you. Okay. I'll leave it until 11, so that's 4 minutes. You might see me vanish, because I need to go and fill my bigger bottle, which used to have gelatin juice in it, full of water, so I can refill this 2 or 3 times, something like that. Arbroath and Broughty Ferry should go SNP. Should. And with any luck, Aberdeen South should also go SNP. Fingers crossed. God damn frame drops pissing me off. Oh, Discord notification. Would be it. What is it? Going live in 20 minutes. No, okay, okay. There we go. I may as well start reading it now. Oh, fuck off. Scotland fans drink Boston bars dry as Tartan Army descends for World Cup. Bar owners say they have never seen anything like it as 20,000 Scots celebrate World Cup success. Go away. Thank you. Oh, go away. Back to my other story. Thank you. Boston's pubs are facing an unexpected challenge as thousands of Scottish football fans descend on the city for the World Cup, reportedly causing a significant shortage of beer. Over 20,000 members of the Tartan Army have travelled to Massachusetts for Scotland's opening two group stage matches. Beyond the pitch, these enthusiastic supporters have embraced American culture, including a visit to Fenway Park to watch a Boston Red Sox game. The influx of thirsty fans has led to an unprecedented surge in demand, with numerous establishments across the city reporting dwindling beer supplies. Noel Somers, Chief Operating Officer at Hennessy's Bar in central Boston, highlighted the scale of the phenomenon, stating that trade following the Scotland-Haiti match had tripled that of St Patrick's Day. Fucking love it. She told the Boston Globe, "We've been here for over 30 years and we've never seen anything like it." The bar ran out of beer on Sunday night before being restocked on Monday morning. Another delivery is due on Thursday ahead of the Scotland-Morocco match on Friday evening. We'll do it again. Brewing company Sam Adams has also seen its Boston tap brew running dry over the weekend, as demand for its Boston lager was 4 times higher than during a holiday period. Oh, I love it, I love it. Oh god, are they actual kilts? They'll be sweating. Poor bastards. Many bars in the city have been flooded with blue tartan and the saltire as the Tartan Army make Boston their home. Fucking love it. The city's only dedicated Scottish bar, the Haven, which has become a hub for Scotland fans. Oh god, I think I've missed something. Oh, right. The city's only dedicated Scottish bar is the Haven, which has become a hub for the Tartan Army. Oh god, I can't see who that is. It is on my Twitch too. Right, let's see. Give me a minute. Do you have the volume turned on? I do indeed. Stuffing, come on and join. God almighty, I've got 4 people already. Hello everyone. Chat please. Give me my chat. Oh damn it. 5? Ah! Did you, Solly? Nice one. Rejoice, we have a Solly in chat. Hello, Jim speak. Be on your best behaviour, everyone. Mods in. Hi, Jim. ah, Ahead of the World Cup, owner Jason Waddleton ordered in more than 100 kegs of Tennent's to ensure fans can enjoy their favourite drink. So why are you ordering Tennent's? So I digest. It is the most popular beer here in Glasgow. For some inexplicable reason. Elsewhere, hundreds of England supporters in Dallas reportedly defied police requests to disperse from a pub, having consumed over 5,000 beers ahead of their World Cup opener. Many of the supporters stayed out until late on Tuesday night at the Londoner pub in the US city, with some in fancy dress and draped in St George's flags. Despite the pub advertising a later closing time, fans were ordered to move on by bar staff and two police officers just before 10 pm. The pub was eventually cleared, but many remained on the balcony outside the building for another couple of hours. Okay. Fair enough. Ah, I cleared. Boom. Who is that? MC, my dear. Hello, hello. I'll probably be watching Kev, but I could not come by and wish you a lovely day. Thank you, Layla. Hello, MZ, my dear. Hello. Oh, yeah, yeah. No obligation whatsoever. Um, um, uh, uh, uh. The news system. Okay. um, MC, frame drops on my end as well. I got rid of lots of stuff on my hard drive, and it's still the frame drops are still pestering me. I do. Oh God, like what? So see if the refresh works, and if it does work for you, please say in the chat, would you, my darling? Votes are being counted in crucial Makerfield by-election. You know. Results are expected in the early hours of Friday morning. You can follow live coverage on this page. Right. The by-election was triggered by the resignation of Labour MP George Simons and co-architect of Labour Together. Labour's Andy Burnham is trying to return to Westminster. If he wins, he is expected to challenge Sir Keir Starmer for the Labour leadership. Go ahead, Andy. If you're not going to be changing the fiscal rules, you're no fucking good to me. And I will keep on saying this. I will remind everyone he campaigned for Better Together. So as far as I'm concerned, as a Scottish independence supporter, he can go and do one. But it looks like he's going to get back into Westminster to get re-corrupted. Fantastic. His nearest challenger in Makerfield is expected to be Reform's Robert Kenyon. Labour is cautiously optimistic, while Reform thinks it's too close to call, writes Nick Watt. You can say all that, yes, you can say as much as you like. Oh, there we go. That's a month now. Another two Westminster by-elections are being held in Scotland, Aberdeen South and Arbroath and Broughty Ferry, and that's all we get a mention. At least they're saying where the by-elections are. Oh, I would say without hesitation, this is the most important by-election of my lifetime. Really, Chris? Really? Fair enough.
Prove again they can beat Labour in its traditional territory and build the sense of momentum they hope will take them to number 10. But there's a trio of by-elections to follow tonight. The SNPs, hoping to hang on to 2 seats in the northeast of Scotland, will be live in Aberdeen and Arbroath. Sir Keir Starmer might wish he was still with world leaders at the summit rather than here at home. Whatever the results, he knows his job is on the line. Now he's back, perhaps even watching now nervously behind that famous black door. On the edge of their seats, we'll be joined by a cast of top politicians. To kick us off, Kevin Hollinrake, chair of the Conservatives, Baroness Angela Smith, the Labour leader of the Lords, and Danny Kruger, one of Reform's MPs. Alex Forsyth's at the giant screen, and Professor Sir John Curtis is ready to crunch the numbers. So stay with us to witness history tonight, whatever happens.
They've cracked open the crypt.
Good evening and a very warm welcome to By-Elections 2026, to you at home and to our guests in the studio. By the morning, we will know if a challenger is on the way to try and unseat the Prime Minister, who took Labour back to power not even 2 years ago. But the party that's led all the polls for more than a year, Nigel Farage's Reform UK, has been trying to block Andy Burnham and win Makerfield and stop that happening. Let's show you live what's happening right now in that constituency, where 77,000 people have an incredible level of power. Constituencies made up of towns and villages, won by Labour in 2024, but won handsomely by Reform in the council elections only about 6 weeks ago. But since then, the MP there stood down to make way for Burnham. A plan to bring him back to Westminster to unseat Keir Starmer, a coup in plain sight. We'll be watching everything that happens there. You can see the counting just getting going. We're on the ground too in Aberdeen South. It's a marginal seat currently held by the SNP, who won narrowly over Labour at the general election. But the Tories have high hopes of taking the seat, pushing at concerns over the oil and gas industry. It would be their first Scottish by-election victory since the 1970s if they manage to do it. And then we'll show you what's happening in Arbroath and Broughty Ferry. The SNP is hoping to hang on there tonight. It's also a marginal seat, but it looks like they'll be able to hold on. But there is so much to get through. But Alex Forsyth here at the desk. Let's just make absolutely no bones about it. This by-election in Makerfield could usher in a change of Prime Minister, which would be our 7th in 10 years.
You cannot overestimate just how significant this by-election is, Laura. I'm actually fresh from Makerfield today, where I've spent the last couple of days. And when you are on the streets of that constituency, this cluster of towns south of Wigan that make up Makerfield, you can feel it everywhere. The placards, the signs in the windows, the journalists that have just descended. The people know just how high the stakes are. And that is because what is at stake here is they are making a decision that will not just affect that constituency, but potentially the country, because
Rejoice, comrades, the resident philosopher and comedian Scribby. Hi, Scribby. Yes, it's her, Reza. Just end me? There are better Scottish women, trust me. Rejoice, comrades, Reza Lindsay. Great to see you, friend. Great to see you. Stupid bastard frame drops. Christ almighty. I didn't think that was possible. 117% frame drop. Mad. So, I will just, I'll have this muted for a bit. Oh! Hello again. Quack, quack. Oh, vote Andy. Yeah. Are you just passing by? No problem. I say to everyone, no obligation to stay. Even if it's just to say, hello, how are you doing? Oh, thank you. I do try to keep everyone informed and optimistic and make them laugh. Which is easy because politicians, you have to laugh. Don't get me wrong, I do get rage fueled. Apparently we live in a democracy. I can't see it. No. Scribby, my comrade. Rejoice, comrades, Davinia Robbins. Hello, my dear. There's 3 by-elections. Oh, Christ's sake, Baronet Smith. She's the Labour leader in the other place. I do not like the other place. It can fuck right off. It is the 21st century. Why are we still under a constitutional monarchy? She says treasonously. Not my king. Thank you. Does it really matter what they're saying? Do you think? Probably not. I did try to listen to most of it for the by-election in Gorton and Denton. Already done it. Oh no, I didn't actually. Give me a minute. I've done the videos that I'm watching down to that. Output. Output. Give me my output. Thank you. Video. Huh. General? Off screen. Here? Advanced, maybe. Da, 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 da. Hmm. Hmm. Mixer, maybe? No. Oh. That may actually work, Davinia, yeah. Ooh, right. Um, hmm. The both houses are checked for only 5 minutes. Yeah. I'll check that later, my dear. I'll do it for my next stream, which will be tomorrow night for the Scotland match and other shenaniganery. Yeah, yeah. I see what you're getting at. I do. I just want to get rid of the lot of them. Oh fuck it! Let's hear what this relevant left to say.
And many people pay tribute to him as being the sensible person in the contest. But I think it is inevitable. It was going to be a fight. I think Andy Burnham will win. But the more important result for us tonight, one that will have a much greater feature, more greatly in, is the Aberdeen South, which is very close between ourselves and the SNP. As you say, it would be a historic win for our Conservatives. Too close to call again. So let's see what the result brings. But I think
I tried and I tried and I fucking tried. I couldn't find a poll for Arbroath and Broughty Ferry. Couldn't find one. I did find a couple of polls for Aberdeen South though, because energy. Kevin, Kevin, you're polling sub 5%. That was a week ago though. I don't know if they've moved above 5%. You're in danger of losing your fucking deposit. With any fucking luck, they will. For Aberdeen South, it's probably going to be between SNP and Reform. Bollocks. Hopefully, SNP will win it. Fingers crossed. Arbroath should be safe. SNP should be. Stephen Gettins was beloved there. Technically, they've still got him, but they've just got him in Holyrood. Oh.
Hear from the ground. My colleague Harry Farley is there for us tonight through the night. Hello, Harry. What does it feel like there? Because everyone here is saying plainly to our viewers with us how important it is. What's the atmosphere?
Well, I mean, the atmosphere is pretty electric. I mean, the hyperbole upon hyperbole really has been showered on these towns south of Wigan in terms of the scale and the significance of this by-election, and that's reflected
I will be
around
back
me. I mean,
momentarily.
there
I'm
is
going
not
to
just
refill my
our
water
friends in the
bottle
British press,
and
other
get
broadcasters,
myself a
but
little bit of a
outlets from
snack.
right around the world,
I will
CNN,
be gone 2
ABC,
minutes.
are outside as well. And I wonder how
I'll be
often
back.
that
Mwah.
American news networks pay attention to a British by-election in the northwest of England. I think that reflects the gravity of what is happening here tonight. As you've been saying, Labour sources here are confident, perhaps a little bit more nervous than I was picking up a day or so ago, but confident nonetheless. They think that turnout will be high. They think that could be good for them, around 60%. They worry that if it goes much higher than that, then perhaps the Reform have managed to bring out voters that they are not aware of, so that if it tilts higher than that, perhaps that is good for Reform. But I mean, Alex was mentioning just the scale of the operation that's been here in the last few days. I mean, she said they'd knocked on every door 7 times. One cabinet minister told me that had gone up to 8 times. I mean, whatever the reality, the scale of that operation has been extraordinary. Reform believe they still have a chance. They think it's on a knife edge, as you were hearing. But I think one thing that I've been picking up from people on the ground here is it's not just whether Andy Burnham wins that matters for him and his future potentially in Downing Street, but the scale of that victory. If he beats Reform here by just a few hundred votes, if perhaps his margin of victory is less than the total number of votes achieved by Restore Britain and Rupert Lowe's party, then does that damage his authority? Does that damage his ability to challenge Keir Starmer quickly? All questions that we'll be asking in the hours ahead.
And Harry, if you're not one of the hundreds of politicians who's descended on the good folk of the Makerfield constituency in the last few weeks, and you're not one of the people who's lucky enough to live in that part of the world, give us a sense of the place. So you've made the point, importantly, it's not one place called Makerfield, it's a succession of towns and villages. But what is the demographic? What kind of area is it?
The demographic is largely white. It is 96, 97% around that. So it's a very different constituency to the last by-election that we were talking about in Gorton and Denton, for example. It is slightly older, perhaps, than the national average. And as you say, it is not one place. It is a collection of towns and suburbs south of Wigan, former industrial area, of course, an area that many people, when you speak to here, feel has been left behind by Westminster, and that's a narrative that both Reform and Andy Burnham have been trying to tap into, that they, in their different ways, would seek to represent the people and places and towns that make up this constituency of Makerfield in Westminster and bring their voices to Westminster. So both parties really, I suppose, trying to tap into what they see as disenfranchisement, I suppose disillusionment, I suppose, with British politics. And from the sense that we're getting as voting gets away behind me is that vote is could be very, very close indeed.
Okay, Harry, thank you very much indeed, and we'll check back in with you throughout the night, and do give us a shout if anything suddenly happens. Alex, let's take a closer look then at the political history of Makerfield.
Yeah, and Laura, some of the details that Harry was talking about there, actually, about what this constituency is actually like. But starting with the political history, take a look at this. Now, this shows the dominance of Labour in the Makerfield constituency all the way back to when that seat was first constructed in 1983. You can see there, Labour way out ahead of the Conservatives and the Liberal Democrats as it was. And that was the case all through the years of John Major's government, Tony Blair's government, Gordon Brown's government, David Cameron's government, need I go on, all the way up to the general election in 2024, when that seat was won by the then MP Josh Simons by around a majority of about 5,000. But we can also take a look at how voters have responded in this constituency in just the past couple of years. So the 2024 general election over here, Labour won in the Makerfield constituency. Who came second? Reform UK with 32% of the vote. As I say, the then MP, Josh Simons, had a majority of just over 5,000. But take a look to a couple of years later, and the 2026, so this year, just in May, the local elections that happened. Now, of course, local elections cannot be compared directly with the general election, but what you can see is the popularity of Reform UK in this area at the most recent local elections, where they won most of the seats in the Wigan Council area, which is where Makerfield sits. It just gives you a sense of the key parties that are in contention in this by-election race. let's have a look at how that compares to some of the other by-elections that we've had since the general election in 2024. There have been 3 pretty significant by-elections. The first one that took place was in Runcorn and Helsby. You can see just here, so in the northwest as well. Now, Reform won that by-election in May 2025 by just 6 votes, taking the seat from Labour with their now MP, Sarah Pochin. Then there was the Gorton and Denton by-election, which was also in Greater Manchester. Big, hotly contested by-election. Andy Burnham had wanted to stand in it, but he was actually blocked by Labour's ruling committee. In the end, the Green Party ended up winning in Gorton and Denton. And then you can see, all eyes on Makerfield this evening, the greyed out area there, because we don't yet know what way it's going to go. So how do these by-elections compare in some of the makeup of the people who are living in these seats? Let's start with Brexit. Happened 10 years ago, the Brexit referendum, if you can believe it. But of course, there are many people who think it's still having a real resonance in our politics right now. And if you look at Makerfield, the area that we're really focusing on tonight, 66% of people in that constituency voted to leave the European Union. So that's more than even Gorton and Denton or Runcorn and Helsby, those 2 other by-election areas. Although in both of them, most people who voted in that referendum did back Brexit. Some other facts and stats here. If you look here, you can see that of these 3 by-election areas, Gorton and Denton is the most diverse. So it shows that they're not exactly the same people who are living in these constituencies. And similarly here, graduates, the number of graduates in each constituency, they're pretty much broadly similar. We've got some more detail about these constituencies. Here, the first one, right over in the far corner, the number of households who are claiming universal credit. You can see there, Gorton and Denton has the highest compared to Makerfield and Runcorn and Helsby. It's just really picking out some of the differences between these constituencies. Homeowners, a high proportion of homeowners in Makerfield and in Runcorn and Helsby compared to Gorton and Denton. And the same with car owners. Makerfield, 82% compared with 68% in Gorton and Denton, 81% in Runcorn and Helsby. So what can we conclude from all of this? Why are we even looking at these kind of facts and stats? Well, it shows when we think back to the fact that Reform have done pretty well in the area that Makerfield falls under recently, it might be because of some of these factors. Their high support for Brexit, that's something that normally plays well when it comes to Reform UK's support. Of course, we know Nigel Farage's role in the EU referendum campaign. Got a lot of people who own their own homes there, and these are different constituencies from Gorton and Denton, where the Green Party did well and won that by-election with their plumber candidate, Hannah Spencer, just a few months ago. So it means here, really in contention, not so much the Green Party in this by-election race. It absolutely is a race between Labour and Reform UK. And Laura, you know, it just makes it all the more fascinating when you start to dig between the headlines and see why perhaps people are looking at the parties that they're looking at.
It does, and also reminds us that even you can have a few miles, but almost worlds apart. Thanks, Alex, for now. Joining us now as well in the studio is Jess Phillips, Labour MP and former minister, one of those who resigned not so long ago, part out of disappointment with Keir Starmer's leadership. Just at the beginning of the programme, we were reminding people it's not even 2 years since you all got back into power with that huge landslide. And now here we are in a surreal position where somebody is trying to win a by-election in order to try and oust the Prime Minister. How did you get yourselves into that situation?
I mean, I'm not sure it was me that got us into that situation, but me collectively, the collective we. Look, I think it is quite surreal. I think that it's fair enough to feel that way about it. The local elections, and funnily enough, a lot of my colleagues whose local elections last year had a similarly calamitous effect, although they were in the, less in the big urban areas. It seemed to have less of a hit home. Feel very much like they tried to be the canaries in the mine, and very little changed, or they didn't feel listened to. And then we end up at the local election situation that we found ourselves in, which is quite easy to forget now after all the political drama and calamity. And the sense of the unpopularity of, and I have to say, look, I can only speak for the daughter.
Every time I see her, every time that they bring her on to like the political programming like this, or fuck it, Laura, or Politics Live, whatever, Radio 4 as well, sort of. So, Jess's majority Yardley, if I remember correctly. Yeah. 693. Jess, you're fucked. That is a delightfully low. Damn, I've finished my oatcakes. I only to say to Super Hubby, oatcakes please on Saturday. Oh, you fucking stupid fucking hell. Oh, oh, fucking hell yes. Rejoice, comrades. We have a Chuck. Hi, Chuck. Chuck is one of those based Americans. You see him in Raptors chat. You see him in the Capricorn streams. Oh, thank you. I'm doing well, other than my hip just suddenly saying fuck you. Stupid hip. We have 3 by-elections, Chuck. 2 up here in Scotland and 1 down in Makerfield, which is this screen you can see here. So Makerfield is just outside Wigan, on the northwest coast of England, which is south of me. And it looks like a Blairite from back in the day, a man called Andy Burnham. He has been the mayor of Greater Manchester. He used to represent this area in a seat called Leigh, Leigh, which is kind of part of his old constituency as part of this one, because the redoing the boundaries happens. They're trying to get close to that supposed arbitrary number of an electorate of 75,000. But the boundary commission are daft. Fuck it. And there's 2 up here. Aberdeen South, which Stephen Flynn used to represent. He is now here in Scotland again. Well, first time. So he represents the area that covers part of his old Westminster constituency. So he's in Holyrood now. And the other one is also SNP. It's Stephen Gittins. So that is Arbroath and Broughty Ferry, which is just a little bit up the road from me. Yeah, just up the road from my home city of Perth. So Arbroath, so that's on the east coast. They're both on the east. So northeast of where I currently live, here in Glasgow. Futuristic fried fowl? What the hell? Loving the name. Loving it. Love that name. Brilliant. Hello, hello, friend. Great to see you. Rejoice, we have a futuristic fried fowl. Oh, ooh. Have they stopped? Please tell me this. Oh God, they're under 10% now. That is looking good. God damn it, frame drops are annoying as fuck. Thank you for the hydrate, Shanna. I can still see it. It's at the top of my screen on my phone. Thank you, my dear. Feel free to drop by every now and again, my dear. Watch out, super mod, be about. So, be on your best behaviour, everyone. I try to be accommodating. I've already had to deal with a couple of chuds on my stream this week. No ableism. And no denigrating Karl Marx, just fuck off. And rejoice, I now have FlowSnake as a mod on YouTube. Fucking amazing. If he says you can unmod me now, it is I leave it entirely. I needed one to deal with this mod, to deal with this chud that was in my chat. Thank you again, FlowSnake, my comrade. So if you see FlowSnake about, YouTubers, say hello. Be respectful of your mods. They don't get paid. My God, Holland Break is getting
Just a mess.
I think
animated.
you're wrong. No, I'm in the cabinet because I trust the Prime Minister to do a good job. And I wouldn't stay if I didn't. And I look at the things and
I wouldn't trust him as far as I could spit. Seriously. Oh, give me a minute. It's actually a little bit further away from me tonight for reasons. Do that be better? You keep me updated, would you, darling? Thank you. Ah, fuck, I thought I'd got rid of the frame drops. Bollocks. Oh well. Does that sound better?
What is your ideal scenario for this weekend, and what is your nightmare scenario?
How do you
I mean, Andy Burnham not winning the by-election would not be a great outcome. But look, my ideal scenario actually, I think, is for Keir Starmer to be given the opportunity and take it for a sort of dignified and because I genuinely think it deserves that to come to that conclusion. What I don't want to see happen, but I have to say it may well be the thing that we get. I've learnt to be disappointed. Is then like chaos, government collapsing, ministers walking out. And seeing what we saw under Boris Johnson, I don't want to see that happen. But I think that is a possibility, and that would, I don't think that's good for the country. And I want to see a contest, and during the time of that contest, like the sort of conversations with those people standing in that contest to be had with, like you do in the lead up to a general election, with the institutions, with the civil service, the contact going on, so that a reasonable and good transition can happen, because that's what the country deserves.
You want to put the country through months of the Labour Party's different wings fighting it out.
Why would it have to take months?
Well, how quick? Well, a contest. How quick would?
I mean, that's up to the NEC, but there's absolutely no reason why it would have to take months. And if it's done in recess, I have to, because we go off for 6 weeks, and to pretend that the government is working at full pelt during that time. Sometimes the argument that having a contest will stop the government governing. I literally watched really, really vitally important policies be stopped for 7 months because of a grid slot not being found. So the idea that there isn't already masses of things that slow down government ministers trying to do things, I think is a delightful view that doesn't meet reality.
So your ideal scenario is Keir Starmer sets out a timetable, whether Andy Burnham wins or not. 6-week contest.
Yeah.
Prime Minister in
Make
time
it 4, or if you'd like it to
Make
be
it
quicker.
4. Well, who knows? Well, MPs normally tell me off for saying that nothing happens in the summer. I normally say you're working very hard in your constituencies.
It's not something I recognise, I have to say.
Jess, we have to let you go, but thank you very much indeed for being with us tonight. And Danny, just you're trying to get in there.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, Jess, saying that government doesn't work. That's a very candid admission. That is indeed the case. Well, I mean, I'm afraid it is definitely.
Well, it's not my experience.
And if people don't know, you were in government. You were part of David Cameron's team behind closed doors some time ago.
A long time ago, yeah. So the fact is, government is broken, and actually, we're here. It's very, very exciting thinking about a change of prime minister. It's actually the most boring option if Andy Burnham wins tonight, because all we'll get is another Blair Brown era politician that nobody really knows what he stands for, exactly as Keir Starmer.
You said it was a long time ago. You worked for David Cameron, and that was also, that was after Blair and Brown. So
I'm making the point that Andy Burnham is another long-term professional politician, and I admit I'm one too. That's okay. We're talking about the idea of what is going on in Makerfield. The idea that Burnham represents change, he doesn't. He's just continuity, New Labour, Brown era politics, and crucially, most importantly, it doesn't matter who takes over the Labour leadership, because as we've just heard, government doesn't work. And the fundamental problem, Angela, is that your party is completely split. You're scrabbling around trying to identify some achievements of the last couple of years. You can't do anything in government. You really can't.
Scrabble around for
well, no, genuinely, the most important thing that needs to happen in this country.
Yeah, I've always found that with her voice.
Welfare, the explosion of the welfare budget, and put money into defence. You can't do that. You couldn't take.
I was a smoker for mate. Well, technically, I still am.
How you deal
and
with
nor
welfare,
can any
how
Labour.
you deal with welfare.
But I still managed to sound relatively decent, I think. That's entirely for everyone here to comment on. Feel free, you won't hurt my feelings.
And you make sure, as we're doing, there are apprenticeships and there are jobs.
Right. Are you going to cut the budget? Are you going to cut the welfare budget?
Well, you cut the budget by getting people into
When
work.
will that
That's
happen?
how you do.
When will that
We're
happen?
starting that work now.
But it's not, is it?
It's
It is
happening.
These absolute fucking ghouls. Leave people like me the fuck alone. I'll say this every time benefits gets mentioned. I am keeping a close eye on Stephen Timms. Your lass will get back to you on that one. Oddly enough, the day before the fucking budget. I'm watching you, Timms. I'm fucking watching you.
By investing in the future of this country, not just saying, we can cut a budget here and cut a budget there. You invest in the future. That's how you make a difference.
Now, we like debates going on, but there was also counting going on.
Yes,
and we're
right.
about to go to Aberdeen South. Now, Kevin, you sounded very optimistic just when we came on air. Oh, goodness me, already more than a half an hour ago.
Yes.
Any latest intelligence for what's happening in Aberdeen?
Our people up there, are quite confident. I'm not saying we're across the line or anything like that, but it's looking very, very close. Can I just say there's a by-election result that's in already, a local election result, council election in Swain Park, which is in Essex. Daniel Belton, Conservative candidate, won and won the seat back from Reform this evening.
Rochford District Council or win for the Conservatives from the Reform. There, you're trying to take my job, Kevin.
We were talking about a lot last time I was on your
programme. We certainly were. Well, thank you.
It's been tough for the Tories in the local elections.
Exactly. Great result. We got twice as many votes as Reform did. It was,
it's a big change. My local area, both the local councils are now Reform.
We're going to stay from the East Coast, but we're going to go up to the north of the East Coast, and we can go now to Andrew Carr, who's at the County in Aberdeen South for us. Andrew, you've probably heard Kevin Hollinrake sounding very chipper about it in the studio tonight. Are there smiles on the faces of the Tory activists there?
Yes, there are, Laura. A very positive start is what I'm hearing from the Tory activists here. Now, I can't promise you
bollocks
as dramatic, maybe, and as exciting as Makerfield, but the contest here is intriguing. It's significant for Scottish politics, and as we're hearing from Kevin, things are looking pretty tight at the moment. Now, it's an unusual contest because it was called because the SNP's former Westminster leader Stephen Flynn was elected to the Scottish Parliament last month. We were here exactly 6 weeks ago. He was a well-known figure on the UK political stage, his shaven-headed appearance at Prime Minister's Questions. But in that vote last month, the Tories were hot on the heels of the SNP in the Aberdeen South area. Now, the Conservatives are seeing a route to victory here. They're really focused on the future of the North Sea oil and gas industry. Their leader, Kimmy Badenoch, has been up here to campaign 3 times now. The SNP have also been embroiled in the Peter Murrell affair, the former SNP chief executive who embezzled more than £400,000 of party funds. So there's real concern in the SNP that their vote might be dampened down just a little bit. Now, if the Conservatives do win this seat, we might be making history ourselves here as well, because apparently the Conservatives, they tell me, have not gained a seat at a Westminster by-election since Glasgow Pollock in 1967. So Makerfield might make history. We might make some history here in Aberdeen as well.
That's the stuff of by-election programme dreams, isn't it, this kind of trivia? And Andrew, just before we leave you, we've heard that the future of the oil and gas industry on Aberdeen has really been a huge factor in the campaign. Has that been your experience when you've been there reporting? What kind of thing have people been picking up?
Correct, darling. Thank you, Scrippy. Much appreciated.
Yes, it really has been a very significant factor. In fact, this is the seat I grew up in. On the way here, I was just thinking back. I could remember the 1987 general election when the Conservatives held the seat, but it was lost to Labour, and the city has changed a lot since then. There has been a dramatic decline in the fortunes of North Sea oil and gas. You see the number of homes for sale, people concerned about negative equity. That is the thing that keeps people awake at night in this constituency. Now, people here do see, yes, maybe there does need to be room for change, but I think people feel the Scottish Government, the UK Government, successive governments have let them down. That change has been too fast. The transition has not been fair to people in the industry. So that has been a very significant factor here. The Conservatives have been saying they wanted to make...
Okay, right. I can't do the specific demographics for Aberdeen South, but I can do for the region. So give me a minute. Swollen my fingers on it. Fucking hell. I was taking fine earlier on. Total population 265,080. The area spans 6,000 square kilometres essentially, resulting in a sparse population density of roughly 41 people per square kilometre. Households, there are approximately 117,419 households, showing a steady recent increase. Median age is 45, so just 2 years younger than me. 20% of residents are 65 and over, while children under the age of 16 make up 19%. Also, the non-binary as well, please. Thank you. Gender is a social construct. Please remember that, everyone. 50-50, essentially. Fuck it. 97% white, with about 80% identifying as white Scottish and 12% identifying as white other British. Asian or Asian Scottish residents make up 1%. Language, notably around 49% of residents report being able to speak and understand the Scots language, and there's also Doric. Inward migration trends are mainly driven by the 30 to 44 age group, though the area sees more outward migration of young adults. No surprise. while towns closest to Aberdeen, like Inverurie and Tarbes, have seen strong wage growth, affordability and income metrics vary across rural and peripheral settlements. Thank you. There we go. Why, mostly above 45 by the looks of it. Ah, gimme. Oh.
North-east of Scotland, where, as you say, the SNP have been very popular in the past. Historically, it's very important in terms of Scottish politics. The Declaration of Arbroath was signed here back in 1320, which was essentially an assertion of Scottish independence. And more than 700 years on, the political makeup of the town is still under the spotlight. Now, Arbroath is also famous for its smokies, a Scottish delicacy which has protected status much like champagne. But over decades, the traditional fishing industry here has declined, and there's also been a decline in the high street. Swap to the other end of the constituency, Broughty Ferry, and it's a pretty different picture. It's an affluent area of Dundee which is popular to live, work and visit, and the high street there is really pretty, bustling. As you touched on, this was an SNP hold. This seat was first contested back in 2024, and Stephen Ethans took the seat then. Similar to my colleague Andrew, this by-election has been forced by his resignation because he took up a seat following success in the recent Scottish Parliament elections. In 2024, he took the seat by just 859 votes, with Labour just behind, so quite a narrow margin. However, a lot has changed since then,
yes.
Not least the rise of Reform, who also have a candidate standing here. Louise, thank you very much indeed, and we'll be back with you later in the night. Let's then check in for the first time with the nation's favourite number cruncher, Professor Sir John Curtice. And John, this is, it's a big by-election evening, but we're hearing really interesting things about turnout. I mean, Harry Farley on the ground in Makerfield was suggesting it, might even be up to 60%, which for a by-election is massive. What kind of indications have you got?
Well, certainly talk is that turnout might be around 60 to 65% as compared with the 52.5% that it was back in the 2024 general election. Now, actually, I've been digging up the records. The last time the turnout was higher in a by-election than in the preceding general election, you have to go back to 1982 and the by-election in Glasgow Hill Head, when Roy Jenkins, one of the Gang of Four that created the Social Democratic Party, managed to win the seat for the party he had then more recently joined, indeed helped to form. So it's over, well over 40 years since we've had an increase in turnout in a by-election. If it were to be the high end of the estimates that have been talked about, i.e. close to 65%, and therefore we're talking about more than an 11-point increase in turnout, that would be the biggest rise in turnout as compared with the general election since the Torrington by-election of 1958. Now, I'm sure, Laura, the Torrington by-election of 1958 is immediately on your tongue, but actually it was the first by-election. It was the first by-election in which the then Liberal Party fought their first serious by-election contest after almost disappearing from the House of Commons in the two elections of the 1950s. They didn't win the by-election, but they ran the Tories quite close. So the interesting thing about both these by-elections, they are both occasions when the established political order was being challenged, in one instance by a party that was finally reviving from near death, and in another instance, indeed, by a breakaway from the Labour Party, that is the SDP. So if indeed the turnout breaks either of those two things, approaches any of those two things tonight, then it will be an indication of a gain as to how yet another challenger, in this instance Reform, well, a lot of people argue about whether or not it's a good or a bad thing that our politics have become more fragmented and perhaps more polarised. But maybe one of the things it's going to do is to help drive up turnout in an era in which turnout has been, and low turnouts have been, a subject of continuing concern.
But just to be clear, I mean, turnout makes things much more unpredictable because parties sometimes have a whole load of people turn out.
Time for my skincare routine. Give me a minute, please, folks. Hello, BDS. Rejoice, comrades. BDS is in the chat. Quack, quack. Hi, Alex. I'm gonna have to get a lamp. Oh. Give me a minute, Alex. Ta-da! That is so much better. By the way, I use Naturally Radiant. It's Superdrug's own brand, and it is fucking amazing. Really, really good for the price you pay for it. Feel free to try it out. It is really good. The counts are ongoing. They are concentrating on Makerfield, as you expect, because BBC. But yes, the counts are ongoing. The Tories are challenging in Aberdeen South, which is Stephen Flynn's old seat. That's terrifying to me. I thought they were irrelevant up here. But the electoral calculus for Westminster is slightly different than Holyrood, obviously. SNP should win Arbroath and Broughty Ferry. And Makerfield, Burnham. They're talking about 60 to 65% turnout. What the actual fuck? That is mental.
But maybe put off from making the jump just yet. And has that changed since Reform's big success at the council elections in 2025, for example, when for the first time they made this huge breakthrough, they got control of 10, I think, town halls. They really had a big, big impact. Has people's perception of them across the country more generally changed? Because I remember, you know, there's a lot of politicians from the established parties sort of thought, oh, well, see, as soon as they get control of power, they'll find out how hard it is and people will be turned off. Has that happened, or are established politicians kidding themselves?
I mean, I just don't think it filters through. You know, if you're a voter in Makerfield, are you that aware of what's been going on in Kent, for example? I think that's quite a difficult, I mean, even the most nerdy of voters, I think, aren't quite aware of that level. But certainly, I think what does creep through is this idea of, you know, I like Reform, I like that they're outsiders, but I am worried they just don't have the experience, and that when they get into government, they won't be able to introduce those policies that will change my life. And it is just that hesitation that is stopping.
I really thought I sometimes use political custard on my stream to show exactly what kind of shit show those 10 councils are. Thank you, political custard. You are based, doing very good work, showing how fucking idiotic some of these Reform people are. Excuse me, sorry about that. Frog in my throat. But no, the people still voted for them in the locals, and they voted for them up here. Why? I repeat, why? We're not normally like that. Don't get me wrong, there are boomers up here who would be swayed by Reform. And apparently some people up here in Scotland are members of Restore. What the actual fuck? Rupert, fuck off.
A favourable opinion of Sir Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister. And what you can see is since the general election, that unfavourable opinion has ticked up for Sir Keir and now sits around 69%, while the favourable opinion dropped down. It's been a little bit wiggly and is now sitting at about 24%. And, you know, this is what you hear from some Labour MPs, not all Labour MPs, but some Labour MPs within the Parliamentary Labour Party, that they are conscious about how the Prime Minister comes across to the voting public. Let's have a look at Kemi Badenoch, the leader of the Conservative Party, of course. Now, if you look here, it starts at the general election in...
About Sir Keir Starmer. Morally corrupt, serial liar. That is all. And who's this? I've no idea who this individual is.
Conservative Party leader. That has been broadly ticking up, and it now sits at around 30%. Now, there are plenty in the Conservative Party who will tell you that when she first took over, there was a little bit of uncertainty around Kemi Badenoch, but a lot of Conservative MPs think that she has built up her personal popularity, and these figures would suggest that she is inching that up. The challenge for the Conservative Party is that 30% favourable rating for Kemi Badenoch is not translating yet into opinion polls for the Conservative Party. And her challenge as the Conservative Party leader is to see if she can make that translate. Because, of course, you can be popular as the leader of a political party, but what counts is trying to get people to vote for you. And so far, that is not reflected in where the Conservatives are sitting in the opinion polls. What about Nigel Farage, the leader, of course, of Reform UK? Now look at his ratings. People who have an unfavourable opinion versus people who have a favourable opinion. Do you know what's most noticeable about this? The gap between the two. So 26% of people have a favourable opinion of the leader of Reform UK. 67% have an unfavourable opinion. And what that tells you is that he's quite a polarising figure. Perhaps you didn't need these figures to what is
Understatement.
About Nigel Farage and Reform UK is what he has managed to do is translate whatever his popularity is into polling results for his party, because we have seen pretty consistently since in the last really 12 months or so, Reform doing well in the opinion polls, in fact topping many of the opinion polls. So it is interesting to see what people make of the leaders of political parties, because of course what they do is set the mood in the political party, as well as a key role in communicating with the public. But of course, any political leader at any political party will tell you what really counts, Laura, is whether that translates into not just opinion polls, but votes at the ballot box.
Votes and votes, real votes are what we are getting tonight. Alex, thank you very much indeed. Well, let's go straight to Makerfield, where the votes will be counted. That could seal the Prime Minister's fate. That may well send Andy Burnham on the way back to Westminster, but may well not. Reform has been working.
Rejoice, comrades! Elron Hubbard is in the chat. Hi, Elron. How goes it, friend? She has been made Security Minister. She is one of Shabana's underlings. What the actual fuck? We need to get rid of your MP, Elron. Elron and me are on a mission to get rid of Angela Eagle. We will succeed, I swear by God, even though I'm an atheist. Your days are numbered, Angie. Oh, look who it is.
Tonight, but it's far too early to say.
Turnout, is there a point at which you start to worry that a tranche of voters are turning out for reform who you just didn't think might have been in the game at all?
Well, we've been through elections very recently here, and we know that there are always these moments.
I've not made it a redeem yet, and I'll make the redeem price relatively low for everyone. Don't worry. If you have a question, post it in chat. Slowly. Is Lisa and Andy TOS? Fuck off, Magic 8 Ball. No. Sometimes Magic 8 Ball is a prick.
To pick up the phone to a winning by-election candidate to congratulate him, and I'm sure he will do that, and I'm sure there'll be a conversation between them. But it's far too early to talk about these things. We've only an hour into counting the votes here at this by-election, and I think particularly for the people of Makerfield, Andy has been really clear that he is coming home to Makerfield in order to deliver change for people, not just in Ashton and Orrell and Winstanley and Hindley Green, but in towns and villages like ours right across the country. He will be their voice, their champion, and he'll fight for them. And he has rightly, all the way through this by-election, retained a very strong focus on what is happening right here in Wigan. And I know that he wants to do that tonight as well, and I think he's absolutely right to do so. It's about respecting the people who come out and put their cross on the ballot, hopefully for Labour. And if he does win tonight, he'll want to address them directly, not get dragged into conversations about what happens next.
But you've just said...
Sorry about the fan noise, everyone.
...people that he's fighting this by-election, not just for the people of Makerfield, but for towns and villages like theirs right across the country. And you've also said you expect that he will have a conversation with Keir Starmer. Now that sounds pretty much if you win.
Fly on the wall, please. Fly on the wall.
No, what I'm saying very clearly is what Andy said himself, which is
change is coming, is what he says.
Taking everything that he's, and change has got to come. I mean, if you cast your mind back, Laura, that's what I've been saying now for 16 years as the MP for this town.
Oh, fuck it. If the frame drops are going to be this fucking bad, I may as well put it on the big screen so I can see it.
2 years ago.
Give me a minute, everyone.
From our Labour government, but they want us to be bolder, they want us to wear our heart on our sleeve. And I think there's no question that in the campaign that he's run here, which has been about hope and optimism, Andy has proved that hope can beat hate and despair and anger, and that people will turn out and vote Labour, who even a few weeks ago weren't prepared to do so, if you offer that. I think whatever the outcome tonight, he's earned the right to be heard. He's an important voice.
Much better. Correct, another fucking playwright. You're kind of from that area, Elron. What's this area like, if you can tell me? I've been seeing a lot, obviously, watching watching this by-election in the news, on like YouTubers and stuff. I haven't been down in that neck of the woods. I've been to Liverpool. Liverpool is fucking amazing. I love that city. I need to get back down there. Days above his paycheck. Correct, Eldon. Correct. Hellmender. She'll probably get voted out. Morally corrupt serial liar. Good. I'm glad you all hate her. Imagine closing the CLP for 2 fucking years. That is fucking ridiculous. Stop parachuting in cunts, and you might actually stand a chance and be liked. Just an idea. Labour, can you fucking hear us? Not just me. There's lots of us who are now seeing this. Ha ha ha. Kicked out again. Reason that you're not coming in then, yeah. Huh. Nice to know, Elrond. Thank you. Kid Starver is not an asset to yous. He's not. Correct! Yeah, I know I'm buffering. I'm sorry. There's not much I can do about it. I'll see what I'll call in help tomorrow before I go live for the match. What? Left wing, my arse. Try again, Hollenrake. What the actual fuck? Kirsty! Hi, Kirsty! We do not have full energy policy, Laura. How many times do I have to fucking say this? If they want something better done with energy policy, devolve it. That is all. Rant over.